What's going on, everybody? Dave, No Money MTG. We're back for another one here.
Welcome back.
We've done a couple of drafts in the last few videos, and I feel the itch to go back to standard. One, just for the variety's sake, and then two, also to collect up some more gold so we have some more ammunition to go back into some drafts in the next couple of videos. And if you've watched the last few standard brew videos, I have my pet deck that I keep on going back to, which is the blue-red lesson cheese you out with Hitotsugu burn deck. And in the last standard video was my take on a poor man's version of a Golgari mid-range deck.
Oh, have some class if you're gonna be poor.
And because I spent so many of my wild cards crafting that Golgari mid-range deck, primarily the Unholy Annex and Core package, I don't want to give up on that, but I also don't want to just repeat that video over again. So what I thought it would be fun to do for this video would be to take that lesson burn deck, mix it up with the Unholy Annex Core package, and see if I can come up with a amalgamated Grixis burn deck that still leverages Hitotsugu as a cheese you out finisher, but then also uses the Unholy Annex to kind of help that process along. So instead of burning the opponent down to 10, I'm going to try in this deck to drain the opponent down to 10, not only using the Unholy Annex, but then also the Corroding Dragonstorm. If you're not familiar with it from Tarkir Dragonstorm, when this enchantment enters, the opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life while you get to do some card selection. And then similarly, without the drain ability, but with card selection, is Roiling Dragonstorm. You draw 2 and then discard 1. So it helps you filter through your deck for cards that you need. But then chiefly when a dragon enters, these return to your hand and you can repeat the process, which is why not only the Core is a key synergy piece, not only for the Unholy Annex in this case, but then also to bounce these Dragon Storms back to my hand because this is a shapeshifter. But that also can help ramp into the Northwind Avatar, which is a star in the Lesson Burn deck, which can then access the sideboard of tools that we might need to finish off the game depending on what the board state looks like. And then we can also use other shapeshifters. So not just the Core, but Mischievous Sneakling is also a 4-of in this deck because it also does double duty of being a demon for the Unholy Annex while also bouncing back the Dragon Storms. So this is a slightly different take on both of those decks, and really just it's me trying to have a little bit of fun and combining the two together.
Man bear pig.
And you know what, now that I think about it, because this is no longer a lesson synergy deck at all, I'm going to include 2 copies of Dispelling Exhale and take out the 2 copies of It'll Quench Ya. And that's just because with the shapeshifters plus the Northwind Avatar, I have 2, 6, 10 dragons in this deck. So this Dispelling Exhale as my 2-of counter to try to stay alive actually has 10 different targets to make the opponent have to spend 4 extra to cast a spell. I still have the Boomerang Basics in there from the Lesson deck just because, one, it's a really good, efficient, interactive spell, but then also if I don't have a dragon in my hand, I can bounce back the Roiling Dragonstorm or the Corroding Dragonstorm the hard way, which then will also have the side benefit of drawing me an extra card. It can also, in a pinch, bounce the Unholy Annex, just in case I can't get a demon onto the board and I'm dying to my own Unholy Annex, or if I just need to reset the Ritual Chamber so I can get another demon on the board with a 6/6 flyer. So Boomerang Basics, even though we're not in the lesson package, still has utility to it. I've also, because I'm taking out pretty much the entirety of the lesson package, that also takes out pretty much all of my small creature removal in the forms of the red burn. So I'm very susceptible to a low to the ground aggro deck. So it's imperative that I get through my deck to find the pieces that I need to survive, which is why I've gone up to 4 copies of Consult the Star Charts and 4 copies of Stock Up just to make sure I can get through the deck and be a little bit more consistent that way. Because I have no more Burst Lightnings, Lightning Strikes, or I've taken out essentially all of the burn package, I'm adding deserts. And for those who aren't familiar with the deserts, they come into play tapped and deal 1 damage to the opponent. So I had 4 of the Eroded Canyon, which is the blue-red version of these. I'm now adding 5 more, 2 of the blue-black, and 3 of the black reds. So as has been a common theme early on in this new arena account, mana bases are awful even for a 2-color deck, so much less for a 3-color deck. It's going to be really, really rough. So adding these not only helps me get a little bit of ping burn damage in there, but then also helps me to mana fix. I'm going up 1 more Universal Passage. It's just such a good card, and it gives me 1 more hit of any of the 3 colors that I might need. So to craft this brew, it's going to take 5 commons, 3 uncommons, and 1 rare. So I'll go ahead and craft that, which leaves me with nothing but 2 mythics left in my wild card stock. But whatever, again, we're here to have a little bit of fun. So let's take this Frankenstein's monster of 2 different decks smashed into 1 onto the ladder to see if it actually plays out in any kind of reasonable way.
I'm super cereal.
All right, I have all 3 colors and a counter spell and some card draw. Why the heck not? Okay, so it's a... Is it... what do you call that? Either spell elementals or prowess. So let's try to do this. Get some card draw going. The second Roiling Dragonstorm. Let's try Corroding Dragonstorm. Okay, so they don't have a counterspell. Keep the Consult the Star Charts, bin the Corroding Dragonstorm. What do they have? Alright, I'm gonna hold here, because I feel they're gonna play something next turn. Sleight of hand, okay. Is this prowess or is it spell elementals? Like, do they have just a bunch of creature removal in their hand? Alright, well, I'm gonna dig for a land, leaving up 2 mana for a Dispelling Exhale in case they have a counter. So I'll go for the Furdok Core. You know what? I think they actually are hanging on to a counter, so I'm gonna pass here. On their end step... Okay, oh, they're holding on to an Opt. On their next end step, I'm going to cast Mischievous Sneakling to bounce the Dragonstorms. Kind of a funny game of chicken that we're playing here. Both of us sitting with 7 cards in hand. See if I can draw a counterspell out of them. Let's see. See if I can get them to cast two counterspells. Okay. That's actually totally fine. Okay, cool. Because this means I can get... if I had an untapped land, I can get Furdok Core out, ping him for a damage, get Corroding Dragonstorm out. I want the other land, and I'll bin Roiling Dragonstorm. So between the Dragonstorm and the deserts that I've played, I've already gotten the opponent down to 13 life without casting any kind of burn. So this is kind of like what the vision was for the deck. Now, that doesn't mean I can effectively finish this off, but we're doing things. Because this turn, we're going to try to get Unholy Annex out. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to try to play Roiling Dragonstorm. Eddie Merc Crab, okay. I've already played a land for turn, I believe. Get them down to 11. I'm going to keep the land, bin the Consult the Star Charts. So they're down to 9. Okay. That's not too big of a deal. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, gonna play Fur Core. Bounce the Dragon Storms. Play Corroding Dragonstorm. Hold the Mischievous Sneakling. Play Roiling Dragonstorm. This might be a win just from drain alone. And I will bin the Multiversal Passage because I've already played land for turn. And then now I drain them for another 2. So they're down to 5. So unless they have a counter spell or something here, I think I'm just going to drain them out. Now they're down to 3. I bin all of that. Mischievous Sneakling. All right, if he has the answer, he has the answer. Does he have the answer? Okay, I'll pay for it. Okay, cool. Well, that was not the way the deck was designed, but it is an alternate win condition to just straight up drain them out. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think stock ups need to go. I am going to actually put in 2 copies of Aetherize. I think the Boomerang Basics can go. I think the Dragonstorm packages are just not good. So you know what I think this deck needs to turn into? As embarrassing as this is, essentially, I want to bring back the lessons because I need early creature removal. So I'm going to put Quenches back in. I'm going to put Accumulate Wisdoms back in. I'm going to put Combustion Techniques and Firebending Lessons back in. Abandoned Attachments back in. Now this is more truly a mixture of the Unholy Annex package with the lesson package. I can bring the 4th Unholy Annex into the main deck. I'm gonna go up on Quenches because I think counter spells in this type of setup where I have less burn options is going to be even more important. I'm actually going to use my last 2 mythics to go up to 4 Northwind avatars. I'm going to get rid of Hidetsugu in the main deck altogether and leave that strictly as a sideboard option. Steal the Show becomes less valuable because I'm likely to have less instants and sorceries in the yard. I lose the Steal the Show. Let me experiment with this build of straight slicing Unholy Annex and Fur Core with lessons. Yeah, let me just try this out. Let me play a couple games with this, see how this feels. Whenever this creature attacks. Okay. They play a protection spell in this deck. Okay. Gosh. A life gain deck, huh? A gain and drain deck. So, I mean, I'm not entirely out of it, but I have to work quickly. If this is gonna... If I'm gonna get through this at all, I have to work quickly. Those help. Okay, that helps. If they have an enchantment kill spell, then I'm kind of screwed. I'm pretty much all in on this Unholy Annex right now. Eesh. I think the way this has to work is I get Hidetsugu. And I pray that they do not kill me. That's actually huge for me. If they can't gain life this turn. Okay. Them getting them... Okay, well, hey. I mean, next turn, I was going to attack them for 5, get them down to 10, and then Hidetsugu them. So I don't know why they conceded, but I had an avenue to win that game anyway, so that's good. Okay. I have all 3 colors. Let's try it out. Both of my blue sources are tapped, or come in tapped, so I'm just going to play the blue-black. Come on, some kind of kill spell, please. Well, I gotta leave up a quench. Okay, I don't mind. This is something where I can... If I can get a kill... If I can get a kill spell, then they can't protect it. So, come on... Kill spell. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. That was kind of the window I needed to kill that thing. Yeah. I just want to get a quench in the yard, so I have an extra... I have an extra lesson in the yard. Okay, well, this is what I needed, so... Okay, well, actually, no, this actually works. So I can kill this, and if they try to save it, I can quench. Okay, they don't have... So they don't have a Shard Mage Rescue. That is good for me. So now I leave up a quench, and if they don't play anything, I accumulate wisdom. Yeah, nope. Let's see, I want another red, probably. Okay, I'm pretty low on life, so I gotta find a Furdok core pretty soon. During your turn, okay, it has flying, equipment card, reveal, put it in your hand. Okay. So they're gonna get a Shard Mage's Rescue, I would imagine, to protect it with the 1 open white mana they have. A Sheltered by Ghosts. Okay. So does that mean they already have the Shard Mage's Rescue in hand? Well, let's try it. Let's try this here. Okay, so they didn't have it. So we're gonna take 2. Gonna eventually die here to my own Unholy Annex if I don't find a Furdok core. There's the Furdok core. Okay, so now I think we're in a really good spot now. Okay. It still dies. Alright, so now we are in a very good spot. Alright, I am going to do this. I'm going to get the Hitotsugu. I am going to play Universal Passage. Okay, cool. They were done with it. Oh, if they're playing a Meticulous Archive, then this is a control deck. That means Aetherize is going to be pretty much next to useless. Yeah, this is not set up well. Azorius control, or... yeah, probably Azorius control. Oh, Merfolk? Let's see. Let's check and see if they have a 1-mana instant speed play. Alright, well, let's kill that. Let's get this down. Ping a damage, leave up Quench. So they're a Merfolk deck. Alright, I need to get another blue source out onto the board. So let's do that. So yeah, they are a wanting to go everything instant speed. You have 2 spell snares? Apparently not. Okay. Helping Hand. Go big or go home. If you can counter it, you can counter it. They can't counter it. Okay, great. No, I need the card draw. And probably the... abandoned attachments. I'm going to need to dig through my deck to have a chance here. Okay, what do they have? Alright, we're gonna make them... if they're gonna counter this, I'm gonna make them do it on their turn. Okay, good. What do they have in their hand? Wow, more of those, huh? Do I just get Furdok Core Unholy Annex combo out? Aetherize is good. Next turn I can hold up Aetherize, which is helpful. Okay. Alright, great. 8 mana available. Okay, I think I can afford to play this tapped. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can. So I'm going to hold up Aetherize for next turn. I'm continuing just to slowly drain them. Okay. That's cool. Aetherize. Kill. And draw. Good turn for us. Yeah, okay, cool. I think they saw it on the wall. All right, so what did I learn from this little experiment with the Grixis Burn deck? So in both iterations, this is not good. I don't think it's because it couldn't be good. It's because by trying to make a Frankenstein deck that melds together two different strategies, it loses the synergy of both. Even before I tried to incorporate lessons into here and I just tried to have Dragonstorm thing where like instead of burning the opponent, I was draining the opponent with the Corrosive Dragonstorm or the Unholy Annex, and then trying to use the Shapeshifters both for the dragon side with the Dragonstorms and also for the Unholy Annex being demons. It wasn't good enough. I think that fatal flaw there was that it was so focused on making sure that I could get those synergies to pop off that like what I had to make room for in all of that was creature removal. And so like I was kind of banking that gain life abilities from both Unholy Annex and let's say like recurring the Dragonstorm cards, it didn't gain life fast enough to offset how much damage I was taking from not addressing cheap creatures. And if there's one thing that needs to be emphasized over and over again with any standard deck build these days is that standard is super fast. So like 1 and 2 mana creatures, if you don't address them right away, you might as well just forfeit the game. If you're going to play a combo deck, then it better be 4 mana kill with a combo. Otherwise, you better have creature removal in your deck. And so that first build was not going to cut it. The second build, I incorporated the lesson package like on the low end of the mana curve and then just married that up with the Unholy Annex combo on the back end of the curve. That didn't work either because the straight burn spells that I had to take out in order to make room for the Unholy Annex and Furdok Core, well, those were important because those are dual purpose. Those burn spells that we took out also could kill creatures. So if you draw those lightning bolts or lightning strikes, if you draw those in the early game, you can still use those to survive by continuing to kill creatures and then just bank on the fact that you're going to get some more card draw later on. Whereas in this build, if you have Unholy Annex or Furdok Core early on in the game, all it can do is maybe help you draw some cards. Like Core, if you get that without Unholy Annex, great, you've ramped yourself, but what are you ramping into? Everything's low on the mana curve. And then if you draw Unholy Annex early in the game, okay, fine, maybe you draw 1 or 2 cards, but you're dead in 2 turns anyway because you didn't address the creature that they just played on turn 3. So this didn't work either. Maybe there's some ways if you had a lot of rares and mythics and all that kind of stuff, and you didn't have to play a whole bunch of tap lands, then maybe it's possible, but didn't work. So bottom line, if you try to put 2 decks into one, you really don't have any functioning deck. Overall, not a great night, but it was somewhat fun to try something new out. I have no wild cards now, so we're kind of starting from scratch. So I guess it's back to limited now to try to get some more good cards to make our standard brews better. That's kind of the premise of this channel, right? I'm bouncing back and forth between limited and standard to build gold, enter limited events, collect cards, make standard decks better, go back to ladder, brew more gold, rinse and repeat. So thanks everyone for sticking around through this one. We will see you in the next video.